gentlemen, welcome to the Dover City Council meeting for April 14th, 2014. We will begin this evening's meeting with the invocation of Reverend Theodore Henderson and followed immediately by our pledge.
Before our invocation, could we have a few moments silence for Anne Marie Townsend, our city planner, who is burying her father, Joseph Noon. Our Father, we pray at this time that you will be with the Townsend family as they funeralize their father who has gone on to be with you. We're thankful, dear God, for her service to our community, and right now she's a servant who is suffering. So be with them and be with the grief that the family will have to come to bear in the upcoming days and months, and let us as a council and as a city do all that we can to rally behind her and give her all the support that we know that she'll need. We pray for this great city, likewise, dear God, this wonderful city which is home to so many residents, and for these councilmen and various members of our community which are stewards of this community. We pray that we will continue our stewardship and look toward making it an even better community as we listen to the concerns of our folks and as we face the challenges which come in every community and in every family. So once again, your richest blessings upon us. Give us 2 ears to hear and 1 voice to speak out when need be. In your name we pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, folks. You have before you this evening the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
Move for approval as presented.
Motion by Mr. Hutchison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dixon. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes unanimously. Now have before you the consent agenda. Those items on the council agenda that are considered routine and non-controversial are marked with an asterisk. They'll be acted upon by a single roll call vote of council. There'll be no separate discussion of the items unless a member of council so requests, in which event the matter shall be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Pleasure of council.
Move the approval of the consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Slavin, second by Mr. Dixon. Any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Persa?
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes.
Mr. Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes. Motion passes unanimous. Item number 2 on the agenda this evening, presentation of the 2013 Mayor's Prayer Breakfast contributions. Mayor Carey, if you'll join Bell Failing, the Executive Director of People's Place, at the podium.
Every year from the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, whatever proceeds we have left over, we pick a nonprofit organization to donate the excess funds to. So what we did this year is we donated People's Place a $200 check for helping the homeless in our area. And we certainly hope that it'll make a big difference to you. Every little bit helps, I know. But we appreciate it, Mr. Failing, for you to come in and taking care of getting this check, you know. But thank you for all you do for our citizens. Okay? Let me do this if you.
Just want to thank the mayor and city council and everybody in Dover for supporting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Item
You can spend that.
Thank you.
2B on the agenda this evening is a presentation for Shepherd's Place. Diane?
There we go. And we're also giving $200 to Shepherd Place for all they do for our homeless in the Dover area. So we want to thank them very much for what they do.
Likewise, what Dell said, we just couldn't do what we do without all the community help that we get. And this year with the Code Purple coming in late at night when it was cold, this is so much appreciated. Thanks for
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you. This is the real thing here.
I get the real thing?
That's the real thing.
She almost left without her money.
Thank you, Diane.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm
Thank you
sorry.
very much. Item number 3 on,
Let me, Dean is the chair of our committee. I just want to recognize Dean. She came in tonight. Dina Vendetti, she's the chair of our committee. So I want to recognize her as the chair of the committee for the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. She does such a great job every year, but thank you very much.
You bet.
I just wanted to have you come down.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Dean.
Item number 3 on the agenda this evening is a proclamation for Arbor Day. Mark Nowak, Public Works Director, down at the podium. Mayor, Madam Clerk, if you'll read the proclamation into the record.
Whereas trees are of vital importance in beautifying our communities, moderating temperatures, producing life-giving oxygen, providing a habitat for wildlife, reducing erosion, and serving as a source of building materials and countless wood products. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton, a Nebraska pioneer, proposed that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees by individuals and civic organizations, resulting in the first celebration of Arbor Day on April 10, 1872, with an estimated 1 million trees being planted in Nebraska that day. And whereas Arbor Day has since become a national event promoted by the National Arbor Day Foundation, whose mission is to inspire people to plant, nurture, and celebrate trees. And whereas the city of Dover was named a Tree City USA in 2013 for the 24th consecutive year by the National Arbor Day Foundation in recognition of the city's outstanding urban forestry program. Whereas the City of Dover Planning and Inspections Department's tree planting and preservation ordinance has caused the planting of thousands of trees in all subdivisions and commercial sites since 1992, and the city has continued to aggressively plant street trees between curbs and sidewalks in almost every available site in the city. Whereas the Delaware State Champion American Elm on the Green may be the only living witness to Delaware's ratification of the United States Constitution that took place at the Golden Fleece Tavern in 1787, underscoring that planting and caring for trees is a special gift that one generation passes down to the next. Now, therefore, I, Carlton E. Carey, Sr., Mayor of the City of Dover, Delaware, do hereby proclaim April 25, 2014 as Arbor Day in the City of Dover, and urge all citizens to support efforts to care for trees along our streets, in our parks, and in our yards. As the City of Dover plants trees on public property, I urge all citizens to plant trees on their properties to enhance the environment and promote the well-being of present and future generations.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and it's a pleasure to present this to Mark Novak for all the trees that they plant and all the vegetation they plant every year to help our city look nice, be pretty to our guests that come in and to our residents. But the other thing, it's a healthy situation too, where it provides better oxygen, better air quality for all of us. So it means a lot to plant as many trees as we can, and we want to thank you and your personnel for doing that.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for the proclamation, but this really goes out to the guys in grounds who've really worked with me since Bill has retired to really keep things moving. They deserve this and all the credit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks.
Mark, if you'll stay down at the podium, please. And I would also request that resolution number 2014-03, proposing April 14th, 25th, 2014, spring cleanup weeks. Madam Clerk.
Whereas we are fortunate to live in a city that is abundantly blessed with natural assets and having a continuing responsibility to preserve our environment by keeping it clean, healthy, and beautiful. And whereas the Dover Days Festival, a period set aside to honor the heritage of the city, will be celebrated May 2nd through May 4th, 2014. Whereas during this celebration, we have the opportunity to demonstrate to ourselves, our neighbors, and our visitors our commitment to a clean and beautiful city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Dover in council met, 1, that the weeks of April 14th through 25th, 2014 are designated as spring cleanup weeks in the City of Dover. 2, that all organized and individual segments of our population are encouraged to participate in this worthy effort by developing and carrying out innovative cleanup, painting, repair, and restoration projects which will serve to enhance or maintain the beauty of all properties in our community. 3, all spring cleanup debris should be placed for pickup, along with regular household waste during the weeks of April 14th through 25th, 2014, so that our city will exemplify cleanliness and beauty during the Dover Days Festival.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Hare, seconded by Mr. Lynn. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Mark, thank you very much on behalf of council for making sure that the city's ready for Dover Days. I know you can't control the weather, so I assume you'll be pulling tulips up just about a day or two short of Dover Days. I think they'll last 3 more weeks.
It doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it. They popped all of a sudden, but it's a welcome addition to the city, and thank you very much. And for those of you who don't know it, if you happen to be out and about around 7:30 in the morning during the weekdays after the tulips finish blooming, they look very nice in your yards. I have a lot of constituents that take advantage of the free bulb giveaway, and I know they appreciate it.
Right, great. Thank you, Mark. Thanks. Thank you.
Item number 5 on the agenda is a public hearing for the violation of dangerous building ordinance for property located at 814 Maple Parkway, owned by Frank E. Jones and other. Request Scott Koenig, the city manager, this evening, to brief us on this item.
Thank you, Council President Bonar. In the packet tonight is a one-page action form prepared by Mrs. Townsend and her staff in the code enforcement area. And very quickly, as Council President said, the property is owned by Frank Jones and others. The structure in question is an in-ground pool with a small wooden pool house located adjacent to the pool. This pool was condemned as an unsafe structure in November of 2012 due to stagnant water and non-operating pool pump. As you will see in the pictures, the liner is ripped in several places and there was trash in the pool. Currently, this structure is filled with stagnant water, has non-operating equipment, no active utility services, and is in a serious state of disrepair and a danger to the residents around us. If we go back to the beginning, as a reference of history, there are 4 code enforcement cases since 2012 with exterior violations related to trash and debris. The property has been vacant since October of 2012. It was registered as a vacant building by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank in February of 2013. This has been a source of neighborhood complaints, as you can imagine. The property has been broken into and resecured by city staff, and the pool has not been maintained in a clean and sanitary manner in recent history. Stagnant water has accumulated. And the structure was condemned by staff due to a dangerous pool on November 30th of 2012. Specific code references are unfit for habitation, general welfare, and unoccupied buildings. As you can see, the liner has drooped on the one entire side, and there's a significant amount of water in the bottom of the pool. That is the pool pump house in question that is deteriorating. And with that in mind, there's really 4 recommendations that the staff has proposed, which are consistent with other dangerous buildings that have come before you. First is to declare the in-ground pool and pump house on this property as dangerous. Number 2 is to order the property demolished by May 14th, 2014 by the owner or equity owner at their own risk. Number 3 is to order the building inspector to cause the demolition of the structures if not completed by the owner within 10 days of the date established by City Council. And the 4th is to order the city manager with the assistance of the city solicitor to cause the cost of demolition to be charged against the land on which the structure exists as a municipal lien or cause such cost to be added to the tax duplicate as an assessment, or to be levied as a special tax, or to be recovered in a suit of law against the owner. Those are the references made by staff and the recommendations by staff, and if I can, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I believe the pictures and the action form speak for itself.
Councilman Persa.
Is the demolition regarding just
Mr. Persa, could you pull your microphone?
Is the demolition just the pool and pump house or also the residential structure?
It is only the in-ground pool and pump house that we're talking about for this declaration.
Any further questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll declare a public hearing open this evening since it requires a public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of declaring this property dangerous? Anyone that would like to speak in favor of declaring the property dangerous? If so, come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, is there anyone that would like to speak against declaring the property dangerous? Anyone who would like to speak against declaring the property dangerous? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. What's your pleasure, council?
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Motion by Mr. Slavin.
Second.
Approved, second by Mr. Hutchison. Any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Persa?
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes.
Mr. Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Item 5B is a public hearing, violation of the dangerous building ordinance for property located at 39 North New Street, owned by Aaron L. Cooper. Mr. Koenig.
Thank you, Council President Bonar. Shortly before 5 today, I received a request from the property owner, Miss Erin Cooper Barrett, to defer this hearing based on the fact that she is unable to attend tonight, and she is in the process of securing bids from various contractors to demolish the structure or to reoccupy as a improved structure. So with that in mind, the property owner is moving forward with getting their own quotes. We would request that this be deferred until the next council meeting to allow the property owner to pick a path forward. If we do not have a path forward on behalf of the property owner by the next council meeting, we'll be back here for the public hearing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Koenig. Without objection, we'll refer this to the next council meeting. Item number 6 on the agenda this evening, presentation by the Dover Fire Department, their annual report. Carrie, presentation, sir.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Matthew Carey, I'm the Fire Chief of the Dover Fire Department. Tonight, I just want to give you a brief overview of the 2013 year in review for us. As you will see, there's a breakdown graph here of the calls we ran by month. In total, we ran 1,045 calls for service this past year, totaling 9,613 man hours from the volunteers of my department. A lot of hard work and dedication from the men and women. Calls of service vary from, not just your typical house fire, but to extricating victims out of vehicles, rescuing people out of pools, assisting other agencies. Anything you can think of, call the fire department and we'll be there to help you. This is a breakdown of some of the calls we've had. As you can see, the majority of our calls are false alarms, which means basically there's malfunctioning alarms, malicious pulls by sometimes juveniles or just adults that just don't know how to conduct themselves, to be honest with you. We run about 200 actual fires. That means we actually put a line in service where we have to pump the truck. It means we have an active fire in an extremely dangerous situation, and with the assistance of the police, we show good teamwork and they help us keep the crowd back as we control the fire. As you can see, we run a lot of rescues, a lot of special weather events, and this past year we had a tornado touchdown in Old Dover, and we had quite a few severe weather emergencies related to that. This is just a more specific breakdown, what we actually spent on each incident. These are some of the memorable incidents we've had of 2013. We had one fire fatality at the Dover Budget Inn Hotel. Crews arrived on scene extremely quickly, put a knockdown on the fire. Unfortunately, the victim succumbed to his injuries. We also had a few tractor trailers on fire. If you're familiar with where Delmarva Kenworth is, downtown by the Wesley baseball field, that proved to be significant as we were taxed using our phone systems, which we don't ordinarily have to use all the time, but it was
It was quite an experience getting all those tractor trailers extinguished. We had a double fatal accident, as you can see there just to the right of that tractor trailer. Both victims in that succumbed to their injuries. It was a head-on. It was a very nasty wreck. And the last set of pictures you see is actually something that hit very close home to my department. We had 2 subjects inside actively searching for any victims. And sorry about this, it gets a little emotional seeing them. That roof collapsed on top of 2 of our firemen. They were inside doing a search over top of that garage. When the first arriving company got there, that garage door was going up and down. There was a living space above it. We were unsure if anyone was inside. While they were in there performing the search, they also were trying to do a fire attack and knock down the fire while they searched the room. While inside, it fell on top. We performed a rapid intervention team rescue. We were able to free them. One member is still recovering from his injuries. He's not back to work yet. The other is okay. And we've learned a lot from that. Until you've ever experienced something like that, you just can't put it into words. Like I said, it shakes you every time you see it. We've definitely learned from it, and we're going to continue to move on, get the word out so this doesn't happen anymore. These are pictures of myself along with the line officers. Very proud of this group. I'm not going to introduce all of them. Very lucky last year to take in 12 members. Nicole Carey is our personnel director. She does an exceptional job reaching out to the community, getting volunteers, which is not easy to do. She goes out, she promotes them, tells them the benefits, gives them tours of the station, just does an extraordinary job. This is some of our training led by Assistant Chief David Carey. Last year we put in over 4,452 training hours, and including those training hours are anything you could dream of, from live burns to foam exercises to water rescue to boat rescue, vehicle extrication. The time that's spent planning this stuff and executing it is just amazing. Just amazing. And all our men and women do an outstanding job. We train to the same standards that career fire departments do. We had our annual appreciation banquet this year where we recognized our top 10 responders. These are the top 10 firefighters that responded in for the year. All of them made well over 200 of the 1,000 calls we had. Past President Carey received an award from the current President, Charles Boyer, for his hard work and dedication over the last 2 years. Jake Shepard was our firefighter of the year. He also made the top 10 in attendance. He made just about every training he possibly could. He also is a fire dispatcher with us, and Jake is always there. He does an exceptional job on the fire grounds. He leads by example, and you couldn't ask for anything more. This is Brandon Naylor. He was our fireman of the year. Not only did he get in the top 10 and attend a lot of training, he also set up our Operation Santa, which I know the community really likes, where we go around with Santa Claus in the truck, hand out candy canes to the children. He organized that whole thing, and he did this all while he had a brand new daughter, so the time he put into the department was just amazing. We received this new RTV. It has 70 gallons of water, and it has 5 gallons of foam. Now, it doesn't look like much, but it packs quite a punch. We actually had a car fire during Firefly where we had a female pass out with her foot on the accelerator. Myself, along with the help of 2 Dover police officers, arrived on scene, removed her while the vehicle was on fire, and that little RTV there put it out. I know it's hard to believe, but it's a pretty impressive little thing. We've taken a proactive approach with NASCAR and Firefly, trying to get ahead of the game because we know this is only going to continue to grow, and it's pretty easy to get around in that other than our big red fire trucks. We've also partnered with Active 911. We launched a system here. We've got over 1,700 hydrants in the city of Dover, as well as over 600 fire department connections and Knox boxes. In working with Mark Noax, who also does a great job doing other things, he provided all the information that myself and the officers went around and pre-planned and downloaded into the GIS machines, and we now have iPads on every piece of apparatus and in both our command vehicles. So everything's at the tip of our fingers, from how much a hydrant can flow to where it's at, to where these fire department hookups are, to cut time in half, to allow us to make safe rescues and put quick knockdowns on fires. Also, in that pre-planning information, we've went around with the City of Dover Fire Marshal's office. As some of you may have seen around town, we have a placarding system now, and it's also entered into this pre-plan information, where you may say a X, which means we will not enter unless we know of an immediate life threat due to fire loads or deteriorating conditions. We also have a slash,
where we'll only go in there if it's going to be a small room of contents fire, which means we'll contain it to the room of origin. So there's been a lot of hard work put into this, thousands of man hours, and we were able to launch it, which is an exciting tool for us. This is a look at our website. We've really jumped into the social media thing. It's been great. We have a website, we have a Facebook, and we're working on some future endeavors as well. So please check us out or like us. I'm not really into the social media thing, but if you guys are. We have 4 full-time 911 dispatchers. They do a great job. They've all recently been certified in emergency fire dispatch. They also are tasked with many duties around the firehouse, which allow our volunteers to concentrate on mitigating incidents. We also have a pipes and drums band, as many of you've seen in the old Dover days, St. Patrick's Day, and Firemen's Convention Parade. They have been actually nationwide receiving a lot of awards. They do an outstanding job. They get a lot of requests, and we just think the world of them. They put a lot of hard work in. We're practicing before I left to come over. We said goodbye to our oldest member, Herb Abbott. Many of you who've been around for a while know him. He did 75 years of dedicated service to our department, so we wanted to mention him for all his hard work. I sure hope I get to dedicate 75 years. I'll be happy to take any questions for you. We're looking forward to a great 2014.
Any questions, Chief Carey? Mr. Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, thank you all for everything you do for this community. Second, I've been away for some little reason. Is the February fire, what was the cause of that? I've never heard that.
For the Kirby and Holloway fire that we had this year?
Kirby and Holloway, last year, the motel.
I'd have to defer you to Dave Truax on that. He has the report for that, City of Dover Fire Marshal's office.
All right, thank you.
He takes care of all that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Hutchison?
Mr. President, thank you, and Chief, to you, and certainly to the members of the Volunteer Forest Service of Robbins Hose. I can't thank you enough for the job that you do. I had the opportunity last week to visit with you at the fire department, and I walked away knowing we have a first-class operation. That's a reflection on you, reflection on the leadership team, and the many volunteer members of the Volunteer Forest Service. We are very fortunate to have each and every one of you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchison. And I will say, just to finish up our discussion on this stuff, most of you know I'm not active around the firehouse anymore because of other obligations for the most part. But I've had the pleasure and the honor of working with the Volunteer Fire Service in a very close fashion over the last several years. And the Volunteer Fire Service provides a big benefit to all of us in the city of Dover. I would encourage anyone that's listening who has an interest in becoming part of the Volunteer Fire Service to stop by. I'm sure that they'll be happy to talk to you and try to sell you on the benefits of becoming a volunteer firefighter, which is to get up in the middle of the night and go out in the snow and go out in the sleet and go out in the rain and do it in service to your community. It's a remarkable thing what the people of this organization and the rest of the 60 organizations around the state do. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That being said, pleasure of council on the report.
Move for acceptance. Second.
Moved by Mr. Hare, seconded by Mr. Hutchison. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item number 11 on the agenda this evening, the GRAND, a planned neighborhood design senior citizen, senior housing option concept. Mr. Koenig.
Thank you, Council President Bonar. In the packet tonight is a multiple-page action form prepared by the Planning Office that details the progression of this project since its inception a number of years ago. Tonight, the subject site for the GRAND is located on the northwest of the intersection of Salisbury Road and Forest Avenue. The property consists of 6.73 acres of land. Currently, there are 3 four-story buildings on the site, each with 48 apartment units, and it is managed as a 55-plus community, although the existing site development plan does not require that the community be age-restricted. I'm going to take us through some of the background. This site has been under construction on various development applications for the last decade. Initially, the senior citizen apartments were planned as part of a planned neighborhood design. This project has been through several different owners, and most recently was labeled as transferred from W Investments to the ownership that finished the project as the Grand. It was not reviewed as a P&D senior housing option and therefore is not required to be age restricted at this point. 3 of the buildings on site are now complete, and the property owner wishes to build a 4th building as it had previously planned under the conditional use application C0602. Therefore, this requires the applicant to restart the application process for the planned neighborhood design senior citizen housing option. The applicant is seeking approval under that designation. The ordinance sets forth a 2 or 3-step review and approval process. In the first step, the developer must meet with City Council and present a general sketch plan, which is attached as the last page of this action form. The City Council shall determine whether or not the proposed project is of such a design and type that warrants further review by the Planning Commission. That's the step that we're at tonight. In the comprehensive plan recommendations, just briefly, the comprehensive plan acknowledges the fact that residents age 65 plus is a rapidly growing segment of the population that will require more specialized services. This trend was also identified in previous comprehensive plans, and in response, a previous comprehensive plan implementation strategy recommended the development of a zoning code amendment permitting senior housing developments near the community services and transit routes that senior citizens depend upon. As a result, the planned neighborhood design senior citizen housing option ordinance was developed and adopted by City Council on July 14, 1997. In short, the planning staff recommends this concept plan be forwarded to the Planning Commission for further review and consideration through the conditional use process. It is important to note that this report provides a summary of the project and does not represent site plan review commentary. A detailed site plan review for code compliance and design considerations is performed through the conditional use site plan review process for a planned neighborhood design senior citizen housing option. Turning back to the front page of the action form, the developer, I think, is going to present his version of the project to you, and then the council will determine whether or not the proposed project known as the Grand Planning Neighborhood Design Senior Citizen Housing Option is of such a design and type that warrants further review by the Planning Commission. I would put that into the record as the staff recommendation at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Colligan. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of council?
We're accepting the staff recommendation.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. Dixon to accept staff's recommendation to forward to the Planning Commission for review. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Forward to the Planning Commission. Next item on the agenda, the evaluation of bids for the generator maintenance contract. Mr. Koenig.
Thank you. The City of Dover currently has 17 emergency generators that supply emergency power to various critical infrastructures inside the city limits. These facilities include electric admin, various sanitary sewer pump stations, the water treatment plant, the warehouse, various production wells, and also City Hall. This contract will require the contractor to perform 4 quarterly preventative maintenance service visits on each generator. And then one of the 4 visits annually will consist of complete preventative maintenance service at each generator. This project was advertised and solicited bids in accordance with the city's procurement policy. Bids were received from 6 contractors. Based on the contract documents, the yearly cost for each contractor is detailed on the second page. Roy's Electric Service submitted all of the contractor's qualifications information and is the lowest responsible bidder. In conclusion, staff is recommending awarding a generator maintenance contract to Roy's Electrical Services for the prices outlined in the action form. The reason this action form is here tonight is because it's a multi-year contract that will exceed $25,000. even though the expenditure proposed for fiscal year 14 is less than $2,500. Staff is recommending awarding a 3-year contract with the option of 2 one-year extensions to Roy's Electric per the bid submitted in response to ITB number 14-0027 PW. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of staff? Mr. Persa?
One question. On the 6 bids that were involved, 5 of them were basically within a couple $1,000s of each other. Bid 6 is about 3 times the annual, year 1, year 2, and year 3 for that. Does that include the entire 3-year term of the contract, or is that literally per year that's what the bid was?
I didn't ask that question of staff, but my understanding is that they reviewed all of these, and White Marsh Environmental fully understood how the bids were structured, and that was their price that they submitted.
On an annual basis?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Persa. Any other questions? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of council?
Move to accept the recommendations of the city manager.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Slavin, second by Mr. Hutchison. Any questions on the motion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Persa?
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes.
Mr. Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Item number 13 this evening is proposed resolution 2014-04 in support of the Delaware Land and Water Conservation Trust Fund grant application for Shooting Park Improvements Phase 1. Mr. Koenig.
Thank you. This is a resolution that's required to complete our grant application. The application has been submitted. We informed the state that we would be submitting this resolution provided council approves it, and it is more of a paperwork and accounting issue to make sure that the authorizing government knows that we've applied for the grant, and it is seeking the grant to offset some of the costs for this project. So we would recommend the resolution be adopted by council so that we can complete our package. It's estimated that the review committee will review these grants approximately May 4th, I believe, and then we would proceed with the project shortly thereafter.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. Any questions of the staff? Mr. Slavin.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Mr. Koenig, one of the provisions of accepting funds from Delaware Land and Water Conservation Trust Fund is that we agree to hold that land as parkland in perpetuity, which I don't have any problem with. Is that done via a permanent easement that's placed on the property? Is that the backstop that prevents?
It can be. The area that is recreation is all the frontage of the property. There's a small portion of this property that's related to the Public Works facility, but the front part of the property may already be deed restricted. I'll have to check.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Persa?
Has the survey work already been approved and contracted for?
The council has awarded a contract for survey. We have not signed the authorization to proceed because we wanted to make sure that we were following the grant application process and did not want to rule these funds out if they were available to us.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mr. Koenig? Seeing none, pleasure of council. Go ahead, Mr. Lynn.
Move to accept staff recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hare. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 14 is a first reading of proposed ordinance 2014-07. First readings offered on the following proposed ordinance, which is referred to us by the Legislative Finance and Administration Committee. The final action by council will take place during the second reading of the ordinance on April 28, 2014. Copies of all proposed ordinances are available at the entrance to the council chambers, or they may be obtained from the city clerk's office. Any questions on this ordinance? If there are none, I will defer to the city clerk for the introduction of the ordinance in accordance with section 1-9 of the Dover Code. Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance number 2014-07, creating a new Chapter 52 Freedom of Information Act related to public records access and amending Appendix F, fees and fines. This constitutes the first reading.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 15 are council members' announcements. Any announcements to be made? Seeing none, I will remind you that we will be recessing council and going back into, we will adjourn the council meeting and go back into a special council executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Give Tracy a couple minutes to set up for executive session.